Hi, I'm Ankit Ranjan from Freshworks. I'm joined today by Alan from Jamf, and we are talking about the role of the IT team in enabling remote work for employees. Alan, how are you doing?
Hi, Ankit. I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me today.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about what Jamf does and also about your role specifically?
Yeah, so my role at Jamf is I'm the Senior Director of IT. I'm basically at the forefront of all of our IT deployments and rollouts and how we help service our employees through technology. Jamf is a company whose sole purpose is to serve and empower companies to be successful with the Apple platform. So any company of any size, we're there to help with your Apple deployment. You can also be a school or a hospital or really sort of any size business or organization. We're there to help you with your Apple deployment.
Now that everybody is working remotely, and I'm sure your team is as well, how did you transition your team and what helped or hurt your transition efforts?
Yeah, so we were in the fortunate position of being a cloud-first company. The mantra or the mentality in IT was always try to service the least common denominator to the best of your ability. And for us, we have field sales reps, field employees that work from home already. We have offices around the world that didn't have any local IT presence. And so we took a step back and made sure that when we designed or deployed any type of solution, that it accounted for that situation already. So when the pandemic hit, everything was kind of already set up to be able to support a completely remote workforce. And that was all just based on the decisions we made early on to set ourselves up for our remote employees.
What's your take on how the situation is going to improve? Do you see this becoming the new normal?
I do believe we're never going to return to a definition of normal that existed before the pandemic. I think a lot of companies need to or are currently evaluating this exact situation, whether they deploy and manage things on-prem or if they start looking at cloud-first solutions. Also, just being able to support people at this time and some of their unique situations at home and how you can better improve their situation at home to make them better and more productive employees at work.
What is your strategy to adapt to the, let's call it the normal?
Yeah, so we're just, we're keep doing what we're doing. From a hardware stance, we've always deployed portable laptops instead of desktop computers. We've always given employees iPhones instead of desk phones. And so we are really set up from a hardware side of things. As we look at the software side of things, we had very few requirements for on-prem software or services. And so we're going to keep doing that. And also look at those few services that we did have on-prem and see how we can now host those in the cloud, whether it's our own, private cloud or moving on to a solution provider. Really evaluating all of those needs, but also looking at the solutions we do have deployed and trying to find refinements or improvements to those solutions, better video conferencing experiences, better collaboration capabilities, that sort of thing.
Talking about video conferencing and collaboration capabilities, what are some of the biggest issues that you or your team have faced while working from home?
Yeah, I would say the number one issue that we've faced is we now have this variable out there that is the employee's home internet connection. When employees are coming to the office, it's a very managed, very controlled environment. You know exactly the type of bandwidth you're dealing with, the types of connections that you're dealing with. Now there's just so many variables. Some employees don't even have an internet connection. So how do you service those employees? You really got to start thinking about where does your corporate network actually begin and end now? And how far into an employee's home do you want to try to provide internet services?
Talking about employees and their devices, in terms of endpoint security, what kind of security measures have you taken while enabling them to work remotely?
Yeah, so once again, we were in the fortunate position of kind of being well prepared for this type of situation. We long ago moved away from the traditional mindset of everything has to be behind the firewall and that's how you control access and stuff like that. we've adopted a zero trust or a conditional access based security posture, where at the time of you authenticating to a service, we're evaluating your actual login information. Are you who you are? Can you verify that through two-factor authentication? Does your authentication attempt look normal, or does it look abnormal? Are you logging in from a location you've never logged in before? And if that happens, what sort of additional verification steps can we include in there? And then with Jamf Pro managing all of our devices, we're able to, again, at that time of authentication, evaluate the state of that device and say, is this a device that's being managed by Jamf? If yes, we know that it's in a certain state of circumstances and can allow that device in versus, this person's bringing in a personal device. We have no idea, is it being secured? Is it protected? Is it running a certain version of software that might be exploitable? And so we can put up additional hurdles or even blocks at that point. So it's a very transitive security posture.
I remember reading very recently that there was a tweet asking who is driving the digital transformation initiative at your organization? Is it the CIO, the CEO, or COVID-19? And that seems like less of a joke now and more of reality, because it is this pandemic that is giving a kickstart to most digital transformation initiatives. So I want to ask you, how has this affected your digital transformation strategy?
Yeah, seeing some of the answers to that question were a little bit scary. For us, we've always taken the approach of letting our employees kind of tell us what it is that they need and want. And so, for example, if you see your employees kind of going to a certain solution, you really have to sit there and evaluate, is this the right solution? So instead of it being a top-down decision, how can you get your employees empowered in helping you make that decision? And then if it makes sense for the business, how can you now deploy it and manage it in a secure fashion? For us, again, nothing really changes. We're still collecting feedback from our employees, trying to understand what works, what doesn't work for them. Again, a lot of variables out there in their home situation. So trying to find some common things that we can help address with that. And so, yeah, not a whole lot has changed for Jamf. If anything, we are now kind of eyes wide open, ears open, trying to collect information from our employees to help empower them and help keep them productive during these times. The most successful IT teams out there are going to be the teams that show the most empathy for their employees. There's a lot of things that are completely out of our control at this time. And everybody's situation is completely unique. So be empathetic, try to help your employees as best you can, and understand that not every employee has the same situation going on.